So welcome back to this lecture. So we were talking about the challenges in IoT, and there are 5 stages. In the third stage, we aggregate all the data from the different sensors, collect them to a central point, and start processing. So if you want to collate the data from various sensors, all of them must support a standard. Standards allows for interoperation. So when something is implemented according to a standard, you can easily interoperate that unit with another one which is also made according to the same standard. So standards makes the integration of different entities easier. So let us look at the IoT standards at various levels. So aggregation is required because your sensor data is coming from various parts at various rates, and it has to be aggregated to make sense out of it. So unless we have standards, you cannot aggregate the data in the IoT application. So there are two types of standard: technology standards and regulatory standards. So first one is more related to the implementation aspects of technology. That means what kind of protocols are used regarding the communication, etc. And its aggregation, data aggregation. And regulatory standards are about the policies for privacy and security of your data. That depends on the country in which you are living. Each government has its own ways of imposing regulatory standards. So unless your application pass the standard, you will not be allowed to operate in that country. So that's about regulatory and technical standard. So we'll look at some of the standards which exist or which we are familiar, and they fall under technology standard. Networking protocols, so various protocols used for networking, and then communication. So communication protocols uses networking products, so they are related. And then how do we aggregate the data extraction? You may have to take the average of the data. What kind of statistical average are you taking? And how the sensor is sending those value to the point of aggregation. All such things are discussed here. And regulatory standards, as I told you earlier, it is dependent on the country. So here I have listed some of the standards which is at present used in US: FTC, and then FIPP majorly for health, and HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability. So these standards ensure that the data collected are safe and privacy is maintained and so on. So recently in Kerala we had an issue related with this. For COVID management, a contract was signed with a US company named Sprinklr. So there were a lot of allegations that Sprinklr is going to get all the personal data of the infected people and so on. So that is another side of it. We have to be very clear on the policies, because nowadays data is most precious element in the business. So if you offer a free service, you have to make sure that you are not taking unnecessary data from your customers. But if you look at all free services, you will find it is in the other way. So the free service mostly is a benefit that you are getting after you submit all your personal information to the service provider. So regulatory standards are coming into picture under those situations where you have to maintain the security and privacy of the data which is collected by your IoT sensors. So another issue that we face is, this data need not be structured all the time. Okay, like you cannot insist that this field should be populated, this field should have values in this. So you can expect any kind of data which on account of error or the very nature of the application. So going for a standard SQL DB may not be a good option. So you have to think about DBs which are non-SQL or no SQL database which operates without a standard querying approach. So here not going for DBMS standard becomes another standard here, NoSQL. You'll have to use some of NoSQL tables in your IoT use case implementation. Yeah, this one, as I explained earlier, so we need to have clear guidelines on retaining the data, how long you are going to retain the data and metadata, etc. This is a very sensitive issue. So this data brokers are there, they are in this data business. So unless you don't have the transparency, you do not know what you are exposing to others. So most of the time when we are using any free service, there will be a screen coming. Do you agree or not agree? Since we all are in a hurry, we will click on agree and go ahead without reading what they have written in that end user license agreement, EULA. So the clauses in the EULA protects the service provider in case of any court disputes and all, but the customer's data is all, most of the time it is compromised. You might have seen such issues happening many times in the recent past, even with respect to Facebook and all. Okay, so lack of transparency is another issue which has to be a major concern while implementing projects which deals with sensitive data. Okay, let's say you are implementing a home automation system, a IoT enabled home, and all your data is traveling through a free cloud service provider. Then that cloud service provider may have better access and control to your home than the actual home owner. So these are some points that we need to consider. So we need to acquire technical skills on aggregating the data, because the data is too huge, because sensors are continuously generating data. You need to have sufficient technical skills including machine learning and so on to achieve the required aggregated data to take decisions. Now the fourth stage, once you aggregate the data, we need to extract information out of it. So this is known as intelligent analysis. What are the challenges faced in intelligent analysis? So you can use advanced technologies like machine learning, deep learning, etc. They will learn what is known as cognitive technologies. They will learn and give you some of the interesting information with which you can get the data. So this leads to what is known as predictive and perspective analytics, so that you can react before a big disaster occurs in your system. So some of the examples of such technologies are computer vision, natural language processing, speech recognition. Both of them use deep learning techniques to work. You might have seen deep learning or machine learning application to all these fields. So AI models can be used. You can rely on crowdsourcing and open source analytics software. Crowdsourcing is gathering information from the public by means of their devices, or conducting some surveys, or making them to subscribe for a free service and get the data. All of them are examples for crowdsourcing. Then real-time data processing tools can be used for making the timely decision making, because certain projects requires timely action that has to be taken within a stipulated deadline. So in such cases, we need real-time data processing and analysis. So when we go for intelligent analytics, we may get a result, but there is a risk of getting inaccurate result or a wrong results, a prediction that can go wrong. So these are generally defined to be false positives in terms of machine learning. So false positive means your machine gives an alert, but actually there is no situation that demands an alert. So there could be false negatives, false positives, and so on. So that is a result of the algorithm. That has nothing to do with your sensors or the aggregation or communication technology. That issue comes because the reason is only because of the algorithm that failed in getting you the right answer. So these legacy systems were all maintained for dealing with the DBMS. That means if you look at a system developed at least 5 years back from now, you will find that at the back end you have a rows and columns based database or a RDBMS. But current systems do not rely on any of these RDBMS concepts. They are actually rowless or columnless DB. So the legacy system's ability to analyze unstructured data has to be considered, because you are going to deploy a project, but the company may be using a legacy hardware and software. So whether it is supported there, etc. So that's here another concern. Okay. Next, the fifth stage of the challenge. So after analysis, you get decisions, and these decisions have to be put in practice by means of actuators or some signals that is coming out of the system. So it could be in terms of a UI, user interface, or some user experience technologies. Okay. So factors driving adoption of action. So how do we choose a proper action method of your system? You'll always look at lower machine prices, improved machine functionality. All this will be considered. So intelligent actors are used. The machine actions, unpredictable situation, all these are challenges when you are going to make a machine behave like a sensible human being. So to summarize this, IoT is not simply automating things. It has got some more sensitive part when compared to automation. So it requires convergence of technologies from all walks of life. Only then you get a proper setup of the IoT. Okay, so please consider all these points while you implement your own use cases. What are the challenges? List out the challenges and how are you going to overcome these things. So please understand that simple automation system has to go a larger distance to become an IoT project. So you can remember recollect the first part of our course where Dr. Anandanarayan sir was explaining the qualities of an IoT project. So a simple networked system with some sensors and processing is not an IoT system. An IoT system is much more, which has to overcome all these challenges which we discussed here. Okay, with this we will conclude this lecture. So whenever we give you a theoretical any theoretical lecture that you get should be made use in implementing your use case. Okay, thank you.